Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Maybe able to celebrate Pride or just get out in nature. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe this week you can go forward and have some things to look forward to, some goals to set, or and again, we're going to have our third annual placing of the crosses down on Dowdy Ferry this Saturday. It starts at 11:30. We'd appreciate you to get there before that. It is a moving event. We'd love to have you there. Be sure to private message Jeremy or Megan as far as if you want to help them during the week, prepare for that and make crosses, etc. So anyway, we do hope to see you there, and thanks for all your animal advocacy and your support. My thought today, this morning, is on acknowledging our triggers. There are things in our life that have actually hurt us along the way. Maybe words, maybe physical actions of someone, whether even of ourselves, whether somebody did something that is forever going to be in your mind that has made you fearful, maybe something they said, in a sense you kept it, you've let it harbor in your heart. Maybe it's made you hard or calloused or fearful or judgmental or non-trusting. I believe all of us have some triggers to some degree about something that has happened in our past. Honestly, I have quite a few. And I have to acknowledge them first of all the time, because if we don't acknowledge something, we can't fix it. And also, just because we acknowledge it doesn't mean that we fixed it either. Triggers can happen at any time. They could happen because you hear a gunshot go off. Triggers could happen because somebody says something and all of a sudden it makes you want to go back into your shell and think that, oh my gosh, I'm not worthy. You just hear that one specific comment, or something that somebody has done takes you back to a time where you felt like you were a victim, or that you weren't able to speak, or that it was choking the very life out of you for being stuck and not being able to make choices, maybe as a child, that has led you to a woman and feeling the same thing. Bottom line, we all have triggers, and sadly enough, there's things all throughout our life that are going to hit those trigger marks, and we have to learn to address them as they happen. Certain things in our life we don't have control over. We don't know when they're going to happen, whether we are actually on the receiving end, and sometimes we may even be a trigger that we don't realize it at the time that we're being somebody's trigger, and not in a positive way. I mean, yes, there are positive triggers for good outcomes and good action, but when we talk about triggers, most of the time we don't talk about triggers in a good sense of like, oh, that triggered me to want to go do this or that, to be a part of a cause, that triggered me to want to go volunteer. Most of the time you don't hear that as a trigger. And, because those become positive affirmations when we do something good from something happening to us in the past that it was positive, and so it triggers us in a good, mindful response. But the ones I'm talking about today are the ones that harbor up in our hearts, our souls, that make us calloused or jaded. And there's things in my life that that I've done, but also that I've been on the receiving end, that have warped in some way some of the thoughts that I've come across that have been, at that moment, they triggered me to regress, to strike out at people. Sometimes I think we do it as a defense mechanism, and other times there's times when we just, maybe because of our inadequacy at the time of when it happened to us originally, we maybe repeat whatever we did when that trigger happens. And again, there's no way to prevent a trigger. All we have to remember is that in life, people are going to be people. Not everybody's going to make our day every single day. Not everybody is going to vindictively or viciously or maliciously try to hurt us. And we have to remember that if somebody does say something off the cuff that maybe that they have no clue maybe that it was a trigger for us, we just have to let them know that, oh, wow, you've really hurt my feelings and this has brought up a whole situation. We've got to be humble in that process and know that, gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you regurgitate that negative memory that you had. I would not want to, hurt you. And so we need to be cognizant to that. We need to know that we've got to be very careful with our words. It's a daily thing. It's not something you just learn and you've mastered. We just have to learn as we go because different people have different triggers. And some we don't know until, unfortunately, we've stepped on the tripwire. But the deal is if we have, we've got to genuinely be sensitive to the fact that we possibly have hurt somebody or opened a wound that never had healed, and don't be too prideful to say, "Hey, I messed up. Hey, I had no idea that was a trigger, or that was a sensitive spot for you." And be kind about it. Don't try to have a debate about it. Maybe you need to explain what happened that you had no clue, as if you trying to explain what on your end the conversation was about, but you did. The right kind of people don't try to trigger people. And I believe that most people aren't geared to do that. If they're accidents, then they happen. And that being said, I'm sorry for anyone and everyone that I have caused a trigger to. That's not the kind of person that I am, is to outwardly and purposely hurt somebody or to, we all fall short. We all fall short daily of being the bestest of friends and caregivers and saying and doing the right things. And so if there's anyone out there that I have hurt, or been careless with my words, I just want to say how sincerely sorry I am. And all you can do is ask somebody to forgive you and release your trigger that you caused, and to be humble and kind and earnest. And that's what I am wanting to do if there's anyone. It doesn't matter if it was 2 days, 2 years, 20 years, as a child. We could never, I think, get ahead in life if we're not honest with ourselves that we all make mistakes and that we sin every day and that all we can do is to do our best and try to make the wrongs right and have a conviction of heart. And doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect in the future. When we apologize, we need to sincerely apologize. When we hit triggers, and we have to just own that. And if you really, really love somebody and they're your friend or it's a family member or whatever, just sometimes that means we have to give them some time to get over that trigger. And again, I don't believe everything we do and say is meant to hurt people. But sometimes we have to take ownership that we have and, sit in the seat of being considerate and forthright and genuine with the fact that you've hit a trigger. Now, in that process, I believe we can grow. I've had a lot of triggers that have come towards me in my life, and I can speak from personal experience that I've held on to those sometimes, and sometimes I haven't even said anything to anybody that something had happened and it was a trigger, and I just dealt with it on my own too. And everybody deals with triggers differently. I don't make any bones about it. This is a very hard time of the year coming into the holidays for me. And I don't need to go into the reasons, but it's going to be an ongoing trigger, is what I'm trying to point out. And we just have to do the best we can with things that hurt us, and know that that nothing is too big for God to fix or to get you through. If He'll bring it to you, He'll bring it through you. And so Bottom line, if there's something you need to make right today, if there's an apology you need to make, if there's something that maybe you didn't know but that you actually had hit somebody's trigger, or maybe you said something in jest and had no idea it would be taken any other way or a different way than what you meant it, be sure to try to right that wrong. Don't try to purposely hurt anybody. I know you don't want it to happen to you, so we have to be cognizant and forthright and humble. And if that means sometimes we have to understand and give people the space in dealing with the trigger, we need to do that too. But just have a sincerity about you. Be transparent about your intentions in trying not to tripwire up somebody. And if you did hit a trigger with them, by all means, be respectful and try to make it right. And most people will do understand. And regardless if it takes them a little time to get over whatever you've said that really has opened up a portal of things, just know that as long as you do your best and you forgive yourself and you ask them to forgive you, and you genuinely try to do the right thing going forward, I believe that that is the best way to deal with things, and God will bless you, and things will run smoother, and you will continue to do what you were put here on this earth to do, and that is to make better connections, have a purpose, and share your life experiences with other people, because we're all here to help one another. So anyway, that's my thought. I hope you have a blessed day. Know that good things are ahead, and that you're perfectly imperfect, and that's perfectly fine. Tripwires, whatever else might be going on in your life, but that you can get through it, but you have to change your mindset about it, and sometimes we also have to forgive others in that process, and just trust that everybody's on a path, and we all have a destination, and we all have to do things that are going to get us to our higher best. So live, love, be. Have a fabulous day. Keep looking up as always. Talk at you later.